Startling and profound, the last message from the Virgin Mary to Mirjana in Medjugorje offers both a warning and an invitation to awaken to the significant transformation unfolding in our world. It is not meant to incite fear, but rather to stir a deep sense of awareness and urgency within each of us. As many struggle to find guidance in these turbulent times, the Virgin Mary's message becomes a beacon of hope, calling us to prepare spiritually and physically for the changes that are already beginning to shape the course of humanity. The message speaks of a momentous event that is on the horizon, one that will bring about both internal and external changes. These changes will touch the very fabric of our lives, affecting not only the natural world, through earthquakes, shifting landscapes, and vanishing communities, but also the spiritual state of humanity. What seems like a series of disconnected calamities is, in fact, a larger indication of a world undergoing profound transformation. For those who are attuned to the signs, it is clear that a monumental shift is taking place. Yet, many remain unaware or dismissive of these signals, unaware of the significance they carry. This transformation is not limited to the world around us. It also calls us to examine our inner selves. It urges us to confront our spiritual condition, to face our flaws and shortcomings, and to make necessary changes before it is too late. The Virgin Mary reminds us that this is not a time to fear, but a time to become alert and prepared. The line between the known and the unknown is growing ever thinner, and with it, the certainty we once felt in our lives is beginning to waver. But rather than being a message of despair, it is a call to readiness, a call to action for those who can see what is happening and are willing to take the necessary steps to protect themselves and others. At the heart of Mary's message is the power of prayer. She emphasizes that prayer is not a mere ritual, but a potent, transformative force that can shield us from the evil forces threatening the world. Prayer, according to the Virgin Mary, is our strongest connection to God, and it is through prayer that we find protection and strength. As a loving mother, she watches over us, guiding and shielding us as we navigate these challenging times. However, the message is clear. It is not enough to simply memorize prayers or recite them mechanically. True prayer must be sincere, heartfelt, and accompanied by actions that align with God's will. It is through this combination of prayer and good deeds that we can withstand the trials ahead. Our unity in prayer and our commitment to living according to divine principles will create a strong spiritual barrier, protecting us from the darkness that seeks to engulf the world. As we face an uncertain future, the Virgin Mary calls us to deepen our faith, strengthen our resolve, and commit to living in accordance with God's will. The time to prepare is now. Let us heed her call and respond with open hearts, knowing that, through prayer and righteous action, we can weather the storm and emerge stronger in faith and unity. In these tumultuous times, a higher power must guide every aspect of our lives, every thought, every action, every gesture. The consequences of disregarding God's commands are more severe than ever before, especially as we approach an era of immense trials and spiritual testing. The Virgin Mary, in her messages, calls us to live in alignment with God's will, reminding us that mere words and empty gestures will not suffice. Only a sincere, devoted life, grounded in faith and spiritual values, will equip us to endure what lies ahead. This is not the time for superficial religion. Rather, it is a call to deep, authentic commitment to God's teachings. Central to the message from Medjugorje is the prophecy of the 3 days of darkness, a time foretold in many revelations throughout history, which the Virgin Mary speaks of with a sense of urgency. This event will plunge the world into a thick, overwhelming darkness, both physically and spiritually. For 3 days, the modern world's sources of light, electricity, technology, and even human knowledge will fail, leaving the earth in a profound solitude. This is no mere metaphor. The darkness is described as tangible, all-encompassing, and impossible to ignore. It will be a testing ground for faith, where no external comforts or distractions will be available. People will have to face their true spiritual state in the starkest of circumstances. During this time, faith will be the only true guide. Those who have not nurtured a solid foundation in God's truth will struggle to survive this spiritual trial. But even the faithful will face hardship, for this period is not just about physical darkness but spiritual purification. The Virgin Mary emphasizes that this time of testing will compel each person to confront their innermost reality. With the absence of worldly distractions, there will be nowhere to hide from the truth of who we are and how we stand before God. It will be a moment of profound spiritual reckoning, where illusions will shatter and only the light of true faith will remain. The Virgin Mary's message is clear. Preparation is not only necessary, it is urgent. To withstand the trials of the coming darkness, we must begin now to strengthen our relationship with God. Prayer must become genuine and heartfelt, not just a routine. Devotion must move beyond surface-level rituals and enter the realm of deep, personal connection with the divine. The spiritual resilience needed to endure these days of darkness can only be cultivated through this kind of commitment to God. But the Virgin's message also addresses practical aspects of preparedness. While the spiritual foundation is the most critical preparation, the Virgin Mary offers guidance on how to prepare physically for the challenges that will come. She advises gathering essential supplies, food, candles, matches, to ensure survival when the modern conveniences we rely on will be gone. This advice is not meant to cause fear, but to encourage prudence and foresight. When the world's infrastructure collapses, having the basics will give us the strength and peace of mind to face the unknown. The Virgin Mary's message carries an unmistakable sense of urgency. These preparations are not just for an indefinite future, but for something already beginning to unfold. The signs are already clear, in both the turmoil of society and the changes in the natural world, that the time to act is now. A key element of this preparation is the call for global fraternity. Despite the increasing division, inequality, and conflict that threaten to fracture humanity, the Virgin Mary reminds us that we are all part of one global family, united by our faith in God. This call for unity is not abstract. It must be demonstrated in our actions, especially during these times of trial. The message of the Virgin Mary compels us to reach out to one another, to foster love, solidarity, and compassion across divides, for it is in unity that we will find strength. The coming darkness is not just a personal trial but a collective one, and the power of faith, prayer, and community will be our greatest asset. So, as we stand on the brink of these transformative times, the message from Medjugorje urges us to take action. Live faithfully, prepare spiritually, and unite as one. The world is changing, and we must be ready, not just for the physical challenges, but for the spiritual battles that lie ahead. As the Virgin Mary has urged, this is a time for deep reflection, repentance, and preparation. Let us heed the call to be vigilant, to deepen our faith, and to prepare not just our bodies but our souls, for the days of darkness are upon us. Let us live with a spirit of unity and compassion, knowing that through prayer, devotion, and collective action, we can endure any storm and emerge as faithful witnesses of God's light in a world that so desperately needs it. The power of global unity and faith. A call to prepare the Virgin Mary's message is clear. We cannot merely hope for a better world. We must actively build it. It cannot simply be an ideal. As we face increasing turmoil and uncertainty, our strongest defense against the forces of evil lies in the network of prayer and the deep connections that come from our shared faith and adherence to spiritual values. But for this unification to become a reality, we must consciously set aside our differences, whether they be socioeconomic, ethnic, or religious, and recognize each other as fellow believers, united in a common mission to live for God's will and the service of others. This spiritual fraternity is the foundation of our ability to navigate the challenges ahead. In the face of global crises, both natural and man-made, our unity, fueled by love, will become our greatest strength. The message of the Virgin Mary is a call for a life led by love, but not just any love. This love is not a passive emotion. It is a dynamic, transformative force that will guide us through the stormy seas of the coming changes. It is a love that compels us to act in accordance with God's will, to sacrifice for the good of others, and to remain unwavering in our faith and devotion. Love is not meant to be just a fleeting feeling. It is a constant, active commitment to God and to the welfare of our fellow human beings. Every action we take, every word we speak, and every decision we make can either reflect this love or fail to do so. The Virgin Mary's message teaches us that this love, when deeply rooted in our hearts, will be the very thing that sustains humanity through the trials that lie ahead. It will give us the courage to face the unknown, the strength to persevere, and the peace to trust in God's divine plan. Even though the challenges ahead may seem daunting, the Virgin Mary reassures us that we are not alone. She is with us, watching over all of God's children and offering her maternal protection. In the most trying moments, her love will provide us with the strength and comfort we need to carry on. Her intercession is a shield that can defend us against the spiritual darkness that is encroaching upon the world. At the core of her message is the need for spiritual renewal. This renewal is not merely about reciting prayers or adhering to rituals. It requires a deep, sincere relationship with God, a relationship that is cultivated through constant prayer, reflection, and dedication. The Virgin Mary calls us to undergo a personal conversion, a daily process of aligning our will with God's. This involves setting aside pride, self-interest, and worldly distractions, focusing instead on our connection to God and our service to others. The preparation the Virgin Mary speaks of is both physical and spiritual. She has forewarned us of a momentous event, what some have called the 3 days of darkness, a time when the world will be engulfed in a tangible and profound darkness, both physically and spiritually. This prophecy serves as a wake-up call, urging us to deepen our faith and prepare ourselves for the difficulties ahead. However, the message is not one of despair. It is an invitation to prepare, to act, and to embrace the challenge with faith. The Virgin Mary assures us that those who remain steadfast in prayer, those who have developed a deep relationship with God, and those who take practical steps to prepare physically, such as gathering essentials and strengthening their communities, will be protected and sustained through these tribulations. This is not a time for complacency. The urgency of her message cannot be overstated. The world is already showing signs of change, environmental shifts, social unrest, and spiritual confusion. The time to act is now. The Virgin Mary's call to prepare is not simply about survival, but about spiritual fortitude. The strength to overcome what lies ahead comes from prayer, love, and unity. We must live as one global family, bound by the love of God. Despite the divisions that exist in the world, whether political, cultural, or economic, the message of the Virgin Mary calls for unity and peace. We are all children of God, and in this shared bond, we find the strength to overcome adversity. The Virgin Mary urges us to come together, to heal the divisions in our hearts and in the world, and to serve one another in love. In conclusion, the Virgin Mary's message is one of profound urgency. The events she foretells are not distant or speculative. They are already beginning to unfold. Now is the time to prepare spiritually and physically. We are called to deepen our relationship with God, to strengthen our communities, and to embrace a life of love, sacrifice, and service. Through prayer and faith, we will find the strength to face the coming trials. The Virgin Mary's words are not to be taken lightly. They are a call to action, a reminder of the times we are living in, and a reassurance that we are not alone. With her intercession, we can face the darkness with confidence, knowing that the light of Christ will guide us through. Let us heed her call, prepare ourselves, and live out the message of love and unity for the betterment of the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Your engagement and presence make this mission meaningful and impactful. Until next time, may these shared reflections inspire you to act, to pray, and to live your faith boldly and fearlessly, trusting in God's protection and the intercession of the Virgin Mary.